Welcome to the podcast.
Welcome to the podcast. I'm James, and this is my good friend
Kieran.
And we've decided to start a podcast because everybody's doing one. The premise we've got is we want to do a comparison of historical figures and contemporary figures, and look at, if these contemporary people are going to be as well remembered as historical ones.
And it sounded great to me when my good friend Jamie brought it up to me the other night. I said, "Right, let's get on with this thing. Let's." And I put the phone down, and we started recording. And as a pilot, and you know what? We didn't sound as bad as I thought we were going to sound.
So we thought we'd try. Actually recording a proper episode. But this is a little introduction, which will maybe go in the feed if we actually release it. Who knows?
Who knows?
All right, well, if we do release it, look forward to hearing it.
So, right, are we just going to... So we've picked two people, haven't we?
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
This is, and as I think Jamie just explained, we picked two people from history, one from potentially history. As I said to myself, an icon of our time and a significant member of history, put together to see who is... Is it to see who's the best, or is it to see who? What we're doing?
The original, and this is who we're actually going to discuss in this episode. Who I originally thought, I was thinking to myself one day, is the likes of Elon Musk, and that's who the contemporary figure will be in this episode. Is he going to be remembered for all the things he's achieved and innovations he's created? And it got me thinking, well, who's someone in history that is really remembered for that? And we came up with Leonardo da Vinci, and that was my comparison. Is this guy was fantastic in his time, came up with all his inventions and ideas, obviously a great artist as well, and he's remembered hundreds of years later. Is Elon going to be remembered like that? So it's sort of take a deep dive into that and see, and also maybe see who's better in our opinion.
See who's going to win in a bar fight. Yeah. Who's the bigger man? That's what I'm interested in finding out.
Oh, absolutely.
I think Jamie's he's seen it as he's coming in with a very analytical eye. We'll see what he's sounding like after a few beers. But I want to know who's the beefcake of history. Exactly. Who's the bigger man?
Well, it's that's just the general premise and the idea, because obviously you can't tell when you're in something, and also did these people living with Leonardo da Vinci realise he was going to be remembered?
Well, I'll tell you that because I did the research on Leo.
There you go. And we should say we're both picking one person out of the pairing and researching them separately. So yeah. I've other than my base knowledge of Da Vinci, I don't know any specifics. Yeah,
this is a vital dynamic of the podcast we're about to do. I think we're going to go away and we're going to research the individual person, and we're going to bring the facts that we've learned to the table and hopefully educate each other a little bit.
Well, hopefully we don't dislike the person we're trying to support.
Yeah, well. So, would you like to begin, or how would you start?
No, I'll go for it. For those of you who've lived under a rock, Elon Musk is a very, very wealthy man who was...
yes, he is.
Who has created a lot of wealth from seemingly nothing. I mean, he's 52 as at recording of the podcast.
You don't do that by accident, do you?
No, you don't get that rich by 52.
Wealth from accident, I don't think.
Well, his main wealth, and this is quite strange, obviously he's recently bought Twitter.
Do you know what just popped into my head?
What's that?
That famous line from, is it Dodgeball?
No.
Is it Dodgeball?
I don't know.
I built this gym by my own hands and a great inheritance from my father. For some reason that popped into my head.
I don't think that's the case of Elon, but it's a valid line. But no, he's obviously he's recently bought Twitter, and those of you that are on Twitter will be aware it's actually changed to X. Now, did you know the prevalence of X and why he's sort of chosen X?
Oh, question.
Yeah, question.
You're asking me a question?
I'm asking you a question. Do you know what X is?
Well,
why he's gone back to X?
Well, can I divulge to you why I believe he's done this?
Why is that?
It's just a factor of simplicity.
Mm.
Bringing it back, X. And X also is... So Twitter it's synonymous with English because it's English. So
Yeah.
that's why we know it's English. But X, he's trying to create a brand that's going to just take over the world, I think. And X is a symbol that is recognised, whether you're an Eskimo or whether you're a Nigerian. You know, it doesn't matter. And I think he's using simplicity to take over. Branding.
Nearly there.
Okay.
Pretty much there.
I was right.
And it's come full circle.
Mm-hmm.
So, X.com he created in 1999.
Okay.
And it was an online bank. In 1999, 24 years ago, X.com.
Right.
And he's bringing that back. And when you think about it, I did not, and I'm ashamed to admit this, I did not put them together, SpaceX.
Neither did I. Wow.
So X.com was the online bank he started in 1999.
So X has always been a theme in Elon's life.
Always, and this is kind of coming
Wait
full
there.
circle.
What was his child called?
His child is something strange.
It's not got an X in it, has it?
It has, but it's ZAO1 or something. I cannot remember. I probably should have researched that, to be fair. Probably ought to have looked. What was his name?
He's doing research and he's not even looked at the children. What's going on here?
I've looked at stuff to do with him, just not
So
his
you
children.
want to be careful typing X into Google. Well, I don't want to see his past search history.
Come on, he's got one called Saxon. Alexander, he loves the X's.
Well, there's an X in front.
But he had a weird one named...
He did, didn't he?
Xeon something, wasn't
Are we
it?
thinking of something else?
No, it was just kid who got it with that...
Yeah, it was like a formula or something, wasn't it?
Yeah. X, then the A and the E that were together. That was I'm sure that was the name. Anyway, Google says it doesn't exist.
Wikipedia can't be asked with that one. Too complicated.
That's it, it's gone. Back to X. So, X.com was the online bank he started. Now, I've always thought, until I actually did this research, always heard and thought he started PayPal. Not specifically true.
Interesting. I bet you all thought that as well, didn't you? And that's why you're on the podcast. Because you're going to learn things. You're going to learn interesting things like this. Details.
I only learnt it a day ago, so don't feel ashamed, guys. No, so yeah, X.com actually went in with another company called Confinity and created PayPal. So it was March 2000. So he was only sort of a year.
So was he not a part of the coding and the... Was he not really in there with the creation of it?
Well, this is where I don't know how much his role plays in, because he does seem to be... I mean, he became a creative consultant.
So this is going to be a part of the debate, I think, with Da Vinci. The fact that this I keep putting it down to true creativity compared to... I don't want to get too deep too quickly, but compared to a mind of ingenuity.
Yeah.
Of adaptation, of drive. And I think I'm sure you've already thought it, but I think there's massive differences between Da Vinci and Elon. And I will go into them shortly, but please finish your synopsis of Elon.
Just on that point, I mean, we're getting sidetracked already, but on that point, I think, do we come down to Elon has ideas and he knows the right people to motivate.
Absolutely.
But that's part of the
I
balance.
shouldn't say absolutely. Fucking hell, we've got a long podcast to go. And I'm saying absolutes already.
So, in terms of, I can't say this word, philanthropy, charity.
Philanthropy. I can't say it either.
So, did you know he actually gave all Twitter employees stock in X? So, what are you trying to do? So, I'm staying on the X theme at the moment.
Yep.
Because I like the full circle moment.
Contemporary.
So,
we
20 years later, he's come back, 24 years later, he's come back to X.
Mm-hmm.
He's given them all stock in X, the Twitter employees.
Okay.
And he's trying to make X the one-stop app.
Yes.
So
it's the all app, isn't it? It's the,
this is what he's trying to get.
Something like that before.
So he's got a social media platform being Twitter. I mean, what's he going to go after next?
Does he want to make
eBay or?
And will it be so X is going to be an app for everything, essentially, where you do your shopping, where you do. Yeah. Is this the end game? Is this his dream?
Well, this is it. This
Pay
is
with
what
it.
Yeah,
you do your shopping. You do your research. You talk.
Yeah.
The ultimate app.
And you kind of think
one app to rule them all.
But you also kind of think, why?
Well, I think potentially that it's destined to go that way, potentially, if we look at inventions, for example, the phone.
Yeah.
You know, it just becomes everything becomes compact into one, doesn't it? And do we not probably think that is the end game of apps? One day we will have this one app to rule them all.
Yeah, but I mean, not to get too bogged down in it, but the Competition and Markets Authorities wouldn't allow that.
So you think it's going to be monopolisation?
Yeah, they just wouldn't allow it.
Surely, actually, yeah, very good point. Very good point.
They just wouldn't. They're not going to say, oh yeah.
Government wouldn't allow it.
Yeah, they're not going to say one guy can do.
But what about when this app owns the government?
Well, he's actually also started X.AI, which is artificial intelligence.
This man is going to take over. But I think if it does, I think he's one of the better of the evils. Do you know what I mean? When it comes to billionaires and stuff like that, which is a whole other kettle of fish.
Absolutely.
But I'll tell you an interesting thing about Elon Musk.
Yeah, go for it.
So all the concepts of Elon going as he went forward and through his career, always very positive.
Yeah.
Literally, at about the moment he became the richest man on the planet, the connotation became negative. And I'm not sure how you measure that, but it's do something through Google. But if you look through Google and searches, everything becomes it's like that number one richest man in the world spot.
Yeah.
Like it holds a Mr. Burns figure, and everything was very positive about Elon.
Yeah, yeah.
And then as soon as he got that one spot, and I'm sure can you remember about 2-3 years ago when he did everything becomes a bit of a negative around him.
Yeah, yeah. But I think that's true of any iconic figure.
Do you mean? And I think specifically the richest man in the world.
Yeah, I mean, but sports people, it's the same.
Yeah.
You know, you look at. He's a bit of a far away from Elon Musk, but the likes of Harry Maguire, and he's great one minute.
Absolutely.
And then the next minute he's the same person, just because people all of a sudden don't like him as much.
I'm just going to say, I mean, I've got high hopes for this podcast, so if anybody is listening, and you are American, or potentially, well, I don't know, a lot of Americans like football now. If you haven't heard of Harry Maguire, go check out some of his YouTube reels of his funny moments.
Harry Maguire!
But do you know what? I think a lot of people, I think nearly everybody on the planet follows the Premiership now, so I think that's
this is the thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
So, right, circling all the way back from Harry Maguire back to Elon Musk. So, he takes X.com, he fuses it with somebody else, creates PayPal, then sells PayPal. Guess how much?
Sells PayPal?
Yeah.
For $500 million.
Nearly.
Oh, what a guess.
1.5 billion.
Oh, maybe not.
So you're a billion now.
Okay.
Close enough. So he sold that.
Not bad, actually. Not awful.
That was in 2002.
This is what I was thinking. Just for inflation, I was probably correct. I'm not even sure if I've got the right way around.
That'd be deflation.
Okay. I just knew it sounded a little bit clever to anyone who wasn't concentrating.
Some sort of inflation.
Yeah, so yeah.
So that's 1.5 billion. Now, I don't know how much of that he personally got, because obviously other people involved. But it was in 2002. He managed to take 100 million. He made 100 million on that.
Made 100 million.
Put it into SpaceX. So he started SpaceX in 2002.
Mm-hmm.
So you think we're in 2023 now. 2002 is a much different time.
Absolutely.
We've obviously, we're old enough to remember 2002.
And
it's a much more different time.
Comes at a very interesting time. I mean, I don't know. Well, we can talk about whatever we want. Why was I going to put constraints on myself? Like, this is a podcast. We talk what we want. We do what we want. SpaceX, how interesting. NASA, really starting to. I don't know if it's the American, well, the government anyway, really stepping away from space programs and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And at this moment in time, and I don't know what it was like in 2002. Probably things were winding down. But this time it's the privatisation, and Elon understands the importance of privatisation. And if we look, I mean, I don't know how big fan people are of capitalism, but it does drive things forward, doesn't it? And
well, that's it. Well, then you talk about
we've got
this,
NASA now relying on SpaceX,
yeah.
And is it what is Amazon guy?
Bezos.
What's his company? Is it Blue Horizon?
Something like that, yeah.
But our NASA are relying on these private companies now to carry out the objectives.
So then the question becomes, so he started SpaceX in 2002.
Mm-hmm.
It was 21 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And now NASA are becoming almost reliant on SpaceX.
Absolutely.
So
it's the American way, though.
Yeah, but it's the chicken and the egg.
Mm-hmm.
did Elon see this before it was going to happen, or has he forced himself into a position? Is he visionary in terms of he knows that come the future, the American government are not going to put money into NASA?
I think he knows two things there. That once upon a time we could rely on government to do these kind of things.
Yeah.
When you think about it, though, it's a very, I don't know how to put this the wrong way, but relying on the government to do things is almost a socialist agenda. But he understands that for things to go forth, it must be in the market's best interest. And what is the market's best interest? It's what human interest is. And human interest is the stars.
Absolutely.
And he knew that. He knew if I sell a private company, there will be buyers, there will be money, because that's where humanity is meant to go.
So is almost becoming, is he actually trying to push innovation forward, or does he just think, I want to make as much money as possible? I don't think he's a particularly bad guy. I think he's quite, from sort of videos and stuff I've seen, I think he's quite humorous.
I think he's been able to intertwine monetization and creating capital with the idea of what the human wants.
Have you seen the video where he talks about his space rocket?
Is this the one where he cries?
No. You've seen The Dictator with Sacha Baron Cohen?
Yes.
And when Sacha Baron Cohen is a dictator, he says he wants the rocket more pointy, I think. And the scientist is like, no, it has to be round, it's better. He says, no, rockets are pointy. And there's a video of some guy saying to Elon, is it true you made your rocket more pointy because of a dictator? He said, yeah. He said, arguably, it's much worse than having it round.
Wow, the guy's concept of public image. He's
kind of playing with it a bit that, okay, it's arguably more worse, but I'm putting it on. But then there was another video, I can't remember, the science baffles me, you know, I'm not a scientist. And basically a YouTuber, it was something to do with the disassembly. And this YouTuber says, well, why don't you use the same system in your main rocket? And Elon stood there and he just sort of turns a bit.
I know of this video.
And turns back and goes,
wow, like,
that's a good idea.
He's doing a bit of rambling, isn't he? And and he starts to think things through. And this guy, whoever he is, he must be some rocket scientist.
I'm sure he's a YouTuber,
He's a rocket scientist, something like that. Or is he a YouTuber? And just ask him a simple question and it just gets things firing in his head. And he's like, well, actually, you've just really... Yes, why haven't we done that?
That kind of, to me, shows humility in terms of I'm much more wealthy than
One very strange thing about Elon Musk. Very, very intelligent, very business aware, all these kinds of things. But he's kind of online with this sort of internet bro culture.
Yeah.
Which is kind of cool.
Yeah.
But I just want to interject here.
Yeah.
I think we might have spent almost... we're on 18 minutes, so we've spent almost a bit of time on Elon.
Right.
Should we bring Da Vinci? I mean, how far was you? Did you have a lot more to go into in your introduction?
I've just got to. Yeah.
I don't think we can have like half an hour introductions.
That's fine.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Or you can bring it back up again. But I think I should, at this point of the podcast, I think we should get Da Vinci in.
Let's go for Da Vinci.
And the history of Da Vinci, from my point of view, well, let's go. So, Leonardo da Vinci.
Who's he?
Who's that then? Well, let's be honest. You've got to do something pretty special if you was born in the 1400s and still be one of the most famous names on the planet.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
So my guy's better than yours. We're going to set up for that.
I win? Thanks for listening.
It's been a fantastic podcast. Right. So I'm just going to... I've done a few notes, but Leonardo da Vinci. He was a bastard.
In the literal sense of the word?
Well, yes, in this literal sense of the word, but the word has different literal meanings. He was born of illegitimacy. I can't say it. He was illegitimate as a child. His father was from a middle class sort of background in Florence. His mother was a pauper, and I think his dad went away. Good one with a pauper. Maybe she was the sort of servant girl, and he was born. But the dad did not disown the child. He took him in.
Yeah.
And he was with the dad. He was part of the family, Leonardo.
So the mother has gone at this point.
But yeah, she had to go. She had to go away because the dad had like real family and real responsibilities. You know what I mean? Like,
What a pauper.
yeah. So, but yeah, it took him in. So he was born to illegitimacy, which I was considering does that have an impact on his life. We could talk about that probably. Me and you could probably talk about it for hours.
Yeah,
This sort of this feeling of inadequacy.
I mean, the whole illegitimacy thing is that's so, it's really changed. So changed. Like, you can be born of.
By today's standards.
You can be born of a one-night stand now.
Wow. I mean, it's not going to mean anything in life now.
No. I mean,
who cares?
There's tons of people who co-parent.
Absolutely.
And
there was a study once done about some of the best sports stars in the world, and they found a lot of them, high proportion of them, didn't have a mother or father.
Oh, one of each.
They didn't have. One of them was missing, and it sort of drives people on to reach higher.
Yeah. You can imagine that. Yeah. Imagine you've just got to keep going.
And then Leonardo, so he was born to illegitimacy, and not much is too much to say about his child. He lived in a hamlet outside of Florence, and then he moved to Florence when he was in his late teens.
Was that his mum's name? He lived in a hamlet outside of Florence. That was a really poor joke.
That's
really
poor. That's poor. Well, I mean, I'm giving him a nice laugh. I'm a good actor. What can I say?
Got to support.
And then he goes into. I mean, the time is the Renaissance time, isn't it? So he was born in the right time. This is a good question. Would Leonardo have fared well in today's world? He was an artist.
Well, this is one of the questions I wanted to sort of pose as well. Like, obviously, I've got the base knowledge of Leonardo. And it's like, this guy's drawing blueprints to things that just weren't possible to build in that time.
Whoa, he's getting well ahead of me.
But,
yeah,
today's standards, what would he been able to achieve?
Well, I'll just briefly talk about that. You've gone well ahead of me. Well ahead of my plan, guys. It's all planned out. But Leonardo, right? It was considered a bit of a oddball when he considered the times, and he was thinking about flying, and trying to do diagrams and stuff like this, and submarines. And the thing is,
it's
at the time in the 1400s, at the times, people just thought you're a fucking fruitcake, mate. You're fucking loony. But we know these things are possible, and he knew it was possible because he was a genius.
This is the thing, and there's a fine line between genius and what's the phrase? There's a fine line between genius and insanity.
Yeah, and absolutely. Well, and you've got to consider yourself. Have you ever met someone you think's insane?
Maybe
they're just fucking a genius, just out of their time.
Should say we were recording this from a mental hospital.
So he moved to Florence, and he joined a guild. A guild. What a guild? It's like he's an apprentice at a guild. These guys create paintings, and they get into art and stuff like that. And he did that. And as he was he did that. And as he was going along these lines, there's a story about on his first proper commission, because in these days people would create big alfrescoes and stuff like that, and he just was you'd get designated a segment, because obviously it would take maybe years to create a vast painting. But he was given a segment, and it was one of his last things before his mentor was to retire. No, in fact, scratch that. It wasn't for that. And he was doing this painting. He finished his painting. He did his segment of the thing, and the guy, his trainer, the guy that he'd been the apprentice to, never painted again.
Really?
When he saw his apprentice, what he had done,
he said, "That's it."
He said, "That's it." And it's this particular picture, and I'll put it up on the people watching the podcast. It's the lighting on the hair of the girl that he painted.
Right.
And the master said, "I could never ever."
So where's that piece now?
Good question. Don't know.
Or is that just anecdotal? That it was the lighting on the hair of the piece, or is that still in existence somewhere?
From my research, it was the way Leonardo had painted the lighting on the hair and created such realism in that lighting, and the way the light reflected off the hair, this blonde curls in this girl's hair, is the thing that really got to his master, and he said, I can't compete with that. And I'm not painting again because that's ridiculous.
I'm out.
I'm done.
Jesus.
Oh.
I mean, you'd feel somewhat proud, surely. Well, then again, painting's painting. I don't understand it. They're all artists.
So you think, the trainer should have been proud, the master?
Well, yeah, I think if you're training somebody...
I've trained that guy.
Yeah.
I showed that guy.
Nothing about me.
So, what happened next in his life? So at this point in the podcast, are we just going to start bringing up points of what we think's interesting about the person now?
Yeah, absolutely. Let's just go. So,
can I bring one more out thing just straight in there?
Go for it.
24 years old, and we'll discuss this. Leonardo went to court for sodomy. Did you know that about him?
I did not know that. Well,
there's a question.
Elon has not been to court for sodomy, so 1-0.
Elon wins.
Wow. Sodomy, okay.
So from our research, though, we couldn't. No one knows if he was of the homosexual orientation. Was it because in them days it could have been just someone who was didn't like him.
Yeah,
could have been trying to get. And he went to court for it. He went to court for this case sodomy.
I thought that was like the done thing. Oh no, was that Greece, wasn't it?
I think that was Greece. Yeah,
it was ancient Greece.
No, sodomy was a crime in Italy at the time,
right.
Which wasn't. Italy was basically not a concept either. Italy was a bit bizarre. Italy didn't exist. I don't know if people know this who was listening. Italy didn't really exist as a concept until I think it was the late 1800s. You know that? Okay. Did you know that?
No, I did not know.
France, Britain, Spain, we've all been nation states for many centuries.
Yeah.
Italy was made up of, I think there was 3 main places, but a lot of these cities, Milan, Rome, they were what we call city-states.
Right.
And it wasn't until Italy, the countries we know today, kept formatting into one.
No, I did not know that.
I need a wee.
Okay.
Do we pause?
Yeah. Goodbye.
Luckily, I didn't delete the whole thing. I've pressed the red button again. I think we're off again.
And we're back.
We're back to the comparison. Nearly said compost.
Back to the compost. Back to the comparison podcast. That's where we'd into, when we start making it big, we'll put an advert in there for hymns. Anyone listening from hymns?
That's when the fans will start. They'll start hating us, jamming. They've changed, man.
You've sold out. Anyone who wants to give us money.
Yeah, you've got our Patreon at... No, we ain't going. We're not that bad yet, guys.
Right. So we've done a bit on Da Vinci. Done a bit on Elon.
Yes.
I'm talking about interesting facts. So, yeah, he's gone back to... So, I always thought as well, and this is kind of nice because I've never actually researched Elon. I've never really researched anybody. But it's all sort of conjecture, and you think certain things that... It's become quite apparent to me that the media drives a certain narrative, and you think things about people that aren't always true.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't start Tesla. I thought he started Tesla. So again, he's an early investor in Tesla.
Really?
So you go, okay, so he's an early investor in Tesla. He's not the founder.
He markets himself well, doesn't he?
Absolutely.
But he's part of any genius, I think. Part of anyone who is successful. They know the importance of image, and they know the importance of self-promotion. You
see, that's something we're never going to know about Da Vinci, really. I'm never going to know. You may have researched.
I don't know, but I do think it's such an important factor. Anyone who makes it big, they need to be self-promoting. Because why? If we know the name, they must have promoted themselves.
Absolutely.
Because I'm going to tell a little anecdote about Winston Churchill. Something about he was in a taxi and he was about to get out, or he was in a car getting chauffeured somewhere, and the story is that the chauffeur pulls up and his bowling hat, his hat.
Yeah.
His hat, and he gets his cigar out and he puts them on just in time for opening the door, and he looks at the driver and he says, "Never forget your trademark, old boy." And he knew how to sell himself.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean? Yeah, that's Winston Churchill.
Absolutely. I mean, you look at...
Don't quote me on that.
I could have made that up.
Something like that happened.
Allegedly.
Can I just mention one thing about this podcast? Take it all with a pinch of salt. If you go and research these people, these interesting people, but everything you hear tonight, it's a couple of guys having a drink. We've done a bit of research. Just double check everything.
This is not the BBC. I repeat, this is not the BBC.
We're a lot more fucking better than that in the 21st century.
So he's from Winston Churchill back to Elon. Now, so he's an early investor in Tesla. He's taken somebody else's idea and concept and just run with it. So you're going, is he? I've always thought he's quite a visionary, but maybe his visionary is actually in business and he wants to achieve something.
Okay.
But he has gone on and called himself a product architect for Tesla.
See, I keep coming back to the idea of Steve Jobs.
Yeah.
So when I was my younger days, and you watch a little bit on these guys and stuff like that, it just come back to me that Steve Jobs wasn't creative.
No.
He wasn't creative.
No.
But he knew how to push these products. Because a lot of these creatives are strange people. Artists are generally strange people.
Yeah.
But they're not business minded.
No.
It's two different mind frames.
Well, I think with Steve Jobs, and maybe it's the same true with Elon, when you start thinking about the cars and stuff, he knows what people want. He knows, the iPhone is pretty revolutionary at the time. The first one.
The smartphone or the iPhone.
Yeah.
Can we say one thing? The greatest product ever made?
Well, I mean, to be fair, we can start comparing products if you really want to go down that. Because you go down the smartphone, everyone's carrying around a computer in their pocket.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, that's massive.
Yeah.
But then you go back to the printing press.
And
you go, well, which one is more revolutionary?
Wow.
That's an idea for another episode.
Well done, sir. It put me back in my place, that, because...
So you look now, it's a real tangent, but at least we've got it recorded for the next time. And you look now, you've got information in your pocket at a touch of a finger.
Mm-hmm.
Which, okay, that's great, but pre-smartphones, you could go to the library, you could go to a bookshop.
Yes.
Where do those books come from? They came from a printing press.
Absolutely.
So the printing press was mass information almost overnight.
And also, the printing press, in that time, you had to read a book. Someone had to put effort into that book.
Yeah.
And someone had to research something. And they were giving you potentially valuable information. But with the smartphone, let's be honest, there's a lot of shit in it. A lot of it's just communication, talking to your friends, for that. And the most content we're now devouring, I think, is just our friends, for that. When in the past, to stimulate ourselves, we would actually be researching something interesting, whether it be history, philosophy. But now, a lot of our time is just soaked up by just communicating with friends and loved ones, which I'm not saying is a bad thing. Maybe it's a wonderful thing. Communication will bring the world together, and potentially that is the way to world peace. But what I am saying is, I definitely feel, and we was born at a very strange time.
Yeah.
We was born at a very strange time where we lived in that world. We was born in 1989. I think. Was you born in 1989?
No, I'm 1988, but same difference.
Same difference. And we was born at a very interesting time where we grew up in the time where everything was the old world, pre-social media. And then almost the moment we became adults, became the birth of social media. So I think that's, I think a lot of people say that. We always think we lived in an interesting time.
Oh yeah, absolutely, I would say so.
But I don't want to demonise the phone too much. Communication, this instant communication is great. But with great power comes great, not responsibility, great risk. Comes great risk. Do you know what I mean? With everything like a gun, it can save your life, but it can also and I feel like the modern phone is very much like that.
Well, there was a study done not so long back, and it was someone had made the assumption that the phone meant people read less, and they actually discovered that since 1980, younger people are reading more now.
Absolutely, yeah.
Now that they're reading content, Well, yeah. Is the content any good? No.
Well, can I just bring another thing up? I remember when we were younger, back in the day, it's what the BBC said.
Yeah.
It's what the state media said, and we would just go along blindly with it. But now people get led down rabbit holes, and now there's so much content out there. If you're of that kind of disposition, if you have an interested mind, people can learn the truth about what they really want. I mean, in the past, it was exclusive to people who went to university and stuff like that. The real details of the fucking of the world. But in the past, we just would just believe what the news said, believe what the BBC said. But now, as we can see, it's become under scrutiny so much now, is because what is truth? Well, what is truth?
This is what I always find. I ask myself, and this is kind of where the idea of the podcast came in. It is the truth and what is the truth, and truth is subjective. So people always talk about North Korea. The media is controlled. The media is this, the media is that. And you're going, does the average person in North Korea know that? And if they know their media is being controlled, then why would they believe it? And what is the point in doing it if everybody knows? So let's assume they don't know, and they believe everything in the media.
Yeah.
And also say that's not the same for me and you.
Absolutely. So, and you could just take it to another level. Like, you as a human being, you're a blank canvas. You know nothing. The only thing you do know is what you have interacted with in your life.
Yeah.
So what if every interaction was completely different? Then your truth would be completely a different definition.
100%.
I mean, what the fuck are we? We're just brains that soak things up, and then our understanding of the world is what we have soaked up.
That's it.
So
this is it.
Are you even an individual? Do you even have free thought? Is that even exist? Is that even a real thing?
It's all subjective, and it's a massive tangent.
It's a massive tangent, and I'm going to leave one more anecdote on this. It kind of makes sense. Kind of what we're talking about. Cold War. America wants Russians to think more like them. Russians want to think. This battle that they've got on. Americans spent millions and millions and millions of pounds to try and westernise them. It was all wasted money. It was all done via the Beatles, by the Russians picking up bootleg tapes illegally. That was and it all westernised them a bit.
Yeah.
I mean, and
which was the war where they dropped extra large condoms in a normal size packet on people? Was that the Cold War?
Don't think it was, but I have heard that story.
That's American. That always makes me chuckle, like propaganda.
Yeah.
So tell me more about. No, you've been researching Da Vinci a lot.
So we're going to go back to Da Vinci, are we?
Yeah. So I've done a bit more on Elon. Where did we get to?
I think we got to
we got on to with Tesla, and then became CEO in 2008.
Where did we get to with Da Vinci? He was taken to court for sodomy.
That was it, and then you said you needed a wee.
And then I needed a wee. My wheat bladder. Okay. Let me have a look. This bit might need fucking pausing.
This bit might need editing out. We haven't got an editor, so if you want the position of an editor, just apply in the link below.
There was a quote by Da Vinci, and I was just going to ask him what you think about this. To conceive an idea is noble. To execute the work is servile. So, do you want to hear that again?
Servile.
To conceive an idea is noble.
Yeah.
To execute the work is servile, like in service.
Yeah.
So this is a big thing with Leonardo da Vinci, and there was talking about, from my research, that in today's terms he might be sort of labelled with ADHD or bipolar, something like that. Very much throughout his life, he's a very, very vibrant mind. He was always thinking forward. Yeah. I mean, he was going to the next thing. He struggled to finish his work. He's one of these kind of guys.
Right.
I'm kind of one of these guys. I've been going through my life. I'm always, what's my new thing? What's my new thing?
You know, it'd be really funny if we just stop the podcast. It's just turn it off there. I never finish anything.
No, what did some of my mates used to say? What's his not phase. I don't know. He used to say something about me. Like something about phases or something like that.
Yeah. No,
but sometimes that's the creative mind. I feel like I'm a creative, and And yeah, so Leonardo da Vinci was very guilty of starting things and not finishing them.
Yeah.
We know him as a painter.
Let me just. Sorry to interject, but let me just arc back onto that point.
Mm-hmm.
So, he was guilty of starting stuff and not finishing it.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this point just occurred to me. Is that because he didn't need to? He didn't have shareholders. He didn't have financial pressures of, we've put X amount into this project.
I'm glad you brought that up because
we need to get X amount return.
So Leonardo, he didn't really. He was a painter.
Yeah.
But it wasn't his true passion.
Yeah.
Throughout most of his life, he was a military engineer.
Right.
This was where his interest lied, really.
Yeah.
And also in nature and stuff like that.
Yeah.
He painted.
Yeah.
And do you know why he painted?
To earn money,
To earn some money.
Yeah. Okay,
That's the only reason he did it. He's not really bothered by it. And that was a lot of Leonardo da Vinci's life. He was painting to pay the bills. And what we all know him as today in the 21st century, this great painter that painted the Mona Lisa and etc. But what an interesting guy! Like,
I mean, I've always, I knew he was a painter, but I've always thought, this is a guy who was thinking up awesome things before it was possible to make them.
There's more going on, isn't there?
Yeah. Which I thought, okay, it's interesting to think about what he'd have been able to achieve if he had the correct funding. So if he didn't have to spend his time painting just to pay the bills, yeah, if he had a GoFundMe.
OnlyFans. Leonardo would be quite creative, I can imagine.
Stroke my beard, baby.
What would Elon Musk's OnlyFans look like? I reckon he would find success, because I think he's the kind of guy. I think some people are just wired to find success. He'd find that niche. He'd find that niche.
Absolutely. I think whatever he does, he's always gonna make something.
Well, this was one of the points that I found that quite interesting, and I think this is a true difference between Elon and Leonardo exist, where Leonardo is more. He's more spontaneous. He's more creative. He's more like So his mind moves. While potentially, what makes Elon so successful was the opposite to Da Vinci, where Elon knows how to finish a job.
Yeah.
He knows how to get something done, and he will do it, and it's his drive.
Yeah.
So, and this is what I was thinking about earlier, that in our comparison podcast, is this the main difference between the two? That both very great minds.
Yeah.
And this is where I came to it, where
one could finish, one couldn't.
One was more of a creative freak, Da Vinci.
Yeah.
But he didn't have that drive sometimes, but he's to the next thing, as we know from his quote. Elon knew how to get a job done. He knows how to get a job done. He knows how to get the people in. And he will get the job done. And he will get it done. And he is obsessed with the success of the job. While Leonardo is obsessed with the experimentation and the new idea.
Yeah. But I mean, Elon does that as well. Because have you heard the Hyperloop?
I have heard.
So basically, he came up with this idea of a sort of high-speed transportation system. And
is it in Los Angeles?
No, he's just, it's going to be tubes, pods, and terminals.
Mm-hmm.
And he basically came up with the idea that if we can get this Hyperloop working, it will shoot from one end of the country to the other in America. And he said, "This is how much I thought of it so far. You guys can have it. Do whatever you want. Put it on the internet. Go for it. Try and invent it."
This is lovely about him.
So he's like, he's just kicking off about that.
Yeah.
And I've had this.
He's open sourced a lot of things, hasn't he?
Yeah, he has. Yeah, and this
This makes you think that this guy's more than just about profit. He's actually about.
Well, he did say that when he got challenged on Twitter, as it was then, saying you could solve hunger in Africa.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to absolutely butcher the figures because I don't know them. I haven't looked at it, but I remember seeing the tweet. And basically, it was world hunger in Africa is worth 1 billion, 2 billion, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Something easily affordable for Elon.
Surely that's feeding them for a day or something. Do you know what I mean? Like,
This is the thing, and it's someone said you could end world hunger tomorrow, and he said no problem. I will send the money. All I ask is for open source accounting.
Yeah.
I want to know where the money's going. You can have it. And he challenged the UN, I think it was. Yeah, it would have been the UN. Yeah, it wouldn't have been EU because that's obviously Europe. Yeah, UN. UN said open source accounting. You can have the money. You can feed everyone in Africa. Nothing's ever come of it.
No, of course not.
There's that much fraud, and it just wouldn't ever get to the people, would it?
Just want to mention thing. We do, I think, getting a little deep here, that in the West we're very, very much in this sort of dogma or stereotype of Africa. There's some great parts of Africa, and I think as slowly, and anyone listening potentially, us Westerners are starting to realise that, and I think it's been a trope of the West, but there's some really fantastic parts in Africa, so it's just certain, and Africa's a massive place.
Well, Elon's from South Africa.
Well, he is, yes, absolutely.
He's from South Africa, of course, so he's got skin in the game.
Africa, absolutely.
But it's, I don't know. He could do it. They all could do it. I mean, when does it become enough money is too much money? You know, if you won the Euro, I think the Euro Millions this week, it's 47 million.
Okay.
If you won that, you could give half of it away and still be phenomenally wealthy.
Absolutely, yeah.
It's mental.
Yeah, and no one's going to do that.
No. It's just crazy.
So why should it apply to the richest man in the world?
You know what's just occurred to me looking down this thing, right?
Come on, then.
So he sold to eBay for 1.5 billion. Now, how much he's made off that, I don't know. I didn't research that bit, to be quite honest.
Mm-hmm.
But then he's gone ahead and started another company called Zip2 with his brother.
Yep.
He sold that to Compaq for 307 million. And that was in 1999. So you're going, hold on a minute, this guy's sold a lot of things for a lot of money. So he's really turning this around. And it just occurs to me, is he at the point now where he's not going to sell SpaceX or Tesla? He's just like, you know what, who am I going to sell them to?
Yeah.
No one's as rich as me.
I am the richest man in the world.
Yeah.
So these ideas and these concepts I have are more important than money.
Yeah.
What is money now? What is money to the rich man in the world? It's nothing.
So he's gone ahead and created these things and sold them for a healthy profit.
Can I ask you a question?
Is he in the end game now?
Well, okay, that's what I was about to say.
Yeah.
What is Elon's end game? What does Elon want to do now?
Yeah.
Let's try and envision. What is he trying to do?
I don't know. I mean, he's quite unpredictable. Other than beating Mark Zuckerberg.
Is it going to happen?
Oh, God, no. It's probably not.
It's September 2023. As of now.
Yeah.
Come on, guys. Make it happen. It'll be an awful fight. Well, let's go.
They're going to announce it tomorrow now.
It'd be terrible. Yeah. Did you ever see that? Remember that thing that was years back, watching Ricky Gervais in a charity fight?
No, I didn't see that.
Oh, yeah, it was years ago. And it's just terrible. It wasn't what it's supposed to be.
That's fair enough.
Right. Let's have a look at some of Leonardo's paintings. And at this point, I think we should just go straight in for bring up The Last Supper.
The Last Supper?
Yes.
Let's have a look.
I'm going to put it up on the podcast so people can see it.
It's bringing up a movie.
Mm-hmm.
This one.
Mm-hmm.
You know what immediately, and I think I've seen this somewhere, but it's always made me laugh, and I never realised, why is everyone sat on one side of the table? You could have had a much smaller table, guys.
Yeah, do you know what? Do you know what it reminds me of?
We have a table for 12, we all want to sit on one side. Do
you know what that reminds me of? Any film you ever watch, Dinner for Two.
Yeah.
They never sat opposite each other. They're sat one's on one corner, and they're like, "What? Why are you sat like that, guys?"
It's film logistics. It is film logistics, isn't it?
But there's so much going on in this painting that I've probably watched in a documentary before, and I couldn't really remember any of it.
So you've got the halos, right? And what I'm noticing is that a halo over Jesus' head or not?
He's got the sun behind his head, I think, hasn't he?
Yeah.
You see the sunset there?
But then who's this kid here without the halo? Is that Judas?
Judas. Wait, whoa, look at this guy. I think we've got an artistic genius in our midst.
Yeah. I mean, he ain't got his feet on the floor though, he's floating.
What? I mean, do you know, the symbolism in this will be absolutely beyond our comprehension, I think. Do you know what? I'm looking up it real close, and is it as good as I think? I bet this painting is vast.
Well, yeah, we're looking at a computer screen, which
Yeah.
is a lot different, isn't it?
The Last Supper.
Yeah, look at the Last Supper.
Do you even know what it portrays? Was it? I mean, it's Jesus Christ, right?
Yeah.
Showing our ignorance, or showing my ignorance.
So where actually the Last Supper is located in the original, in its original
Speak
place?
up, we're on a podcast, sir.
So Leonardo's Last Supper is located in its original place. It's in the dining room, so it's still there. I mean, that's just mental to me. I mean, look out. So that tells you the scale of it. These are people here,
Absolutely.
and that's mental.
That is huge, isn't it?
Yeah. What's the next
Have
one?
you been to an artist gallery before?
Yeah, I've been to galleries before.
One of the greatest ones I ever went to, and this is where our podcast completely fails because I'm not going to provide the right information. It was in Amsterdam, I think, and there's this painting, and it is huge. It's like 30 by 30 foot, and I think it's portraying the Battle of Waterloo. And I was looking at this painting for a long time. I was like, someone painted that. My God. It's a battle scene, and it is. I mean, I'm pretty sure it's by a British man. It's quite a famous one.
When you look at the scale of that, right? So if you saw that, just as we did first off, on the computer screen, as a picture, you go, it's a picture, you assume it's A3. And you go, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
But actually, when you look at the people doing it, the
grandeur, the size, it adds something.
The brushstrokes are nothing compared to the overall picture.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'm no painter, I'm no artist. I can barely draw.
Personally, I don't know why. I mean, art is art, and you think it should just... What is the art? What is the subject matter? That should be interesting enough. But for some reason, I do believe that when we... grandeur to a painting, big, I do think it adds something, some element to it.
Oh, absolutely. It's the detail. I mean, this is a tangent. This is such a tangent. And it makes no sense until I finish explaining it. You remember playing Football Manager? You ever play Football Manager?
Do you know what? I'm one of the few men on this planet I've never really got into Football Manager.
So I haven't played it for years and years and years and years. But what you could do on that, so you have a player, take Messi or Ronaldo, whoever, player, say Ronaldo. You have certain stats, and you have a full page of stats.
Where the fuck are you going?
Right. I'm talking about...
This is the comparison podcast where you go from fucking alfresco Leonardo da Vinci to the fucking football manager. Wow.
I've got a point, and I'm getting to it. Then my point is about detail, and it's on that. You have stats for the players.
Still can't believe this.
You have stats for your players.
I'm sorry, guys. Sorry. Keep going.
You have stats for your players, and it's out of something. So the base one would be out of 10, right? So you would get someone that have 7 out of 10 on a stat.
Okay.
Which is 70%, yeah?
Yep.
The next one would be out of 25. But they wouldn't necessarily be 70% of 25. There would be so many points into 25. And they go all the way up to 100. And they wouldn't be 70 out of 100. They would be maybe 50 or 55. The point being is you get into more detail, you're dialing down to something.
Okay.
Which when you get into the grandeur of this picture,
yes,
and you're stood in front of it, if that was condensed down into an A3 sheet of paper,
okay,
you'd go, oh, okay, it's a pretty decent picture.
Yep.
You're looking at something massive on the wall.
Yeah.
You can actually see every brushstroke. You think the detail involved in that. If you're up close to it, you can see your eye's view. You stand back and it's this whole different thing.
Yeah, absolutely. It's something about resolution, isn't it?
It's kind of got to my point.
Yeah, I kind of understand what you're saying. I mean, I sort of drifted off a couple of times. I'm not even going to lie. I mean, I'm on my fourth beer, but like, Talking about something like resolution, right?
Yeah, this is what I'm trying to get at. That's much more articulate. We'll just cut all that bit out. you can just say, so resolution.
Do you know what? I once heard a really interesting point. Do you know Jordan Peterson?
No, I don't know.
What? You've never heard of the man Jordan Peterson?
No.
But anyway, long story short, he said a very simple phrase once. Someone asked him a question in a Q&A.
Yeah.
And he said, "Oh yes, that's low resolution thinking,
Right.
or that's high resolution thinking." Do you know what I mean? I love that concept. Do you know what I mean? It does sound a little bit patronising, maybe, if you was to suggest someone was of low resolution thinking.
Yeah.
But you can understand that a little bit. Like, well, you're not looking at detail enough, sir.
Absolutely, yeah.
And we're all guilty of it. You. That's low resolution thinking.
Covering the broad strokes.
Yeah, the pixels and
yeah, you've got to dial down, and when you look, I mean, again, this is coming back to it. We're bringing it full circle. This is coming back to our guys. So you're coming back, and is that where Elon was good as well? So you're looking at Da Vinci's painted the Last Supper. I mean,
I like it.
You were going to show me loads of paintings, but we've gone back. So phenomenal at detail. He's phenomenal at high resolution thinking. He's phenomenal at detail.
But in a sense, Elon's phenomenal at detail because so if you're building something like SpaceX,
yeah,
you've got to be able to do the whole resolution picture, but then get into each pixel and define everyone and connect all them pixels. He's the painter. He's the painter of 1,000 people working on SpaceX. So
maybe him referring to himself as product architect was correct.
I tell you what, this Elon guy, he might know what he's talking about.
You think? No, but he's going into the detail, and he's got the resolution, and he's perfect at the details as well.
Should we have another look at one of Leonardo's great paintings?
Yeah, you tell me another one to look at.
So there is one. It's very famous, and I've got a little story to tell you about it. And I'm just okay, I've got it. Right. So Elon went. I'm so sorry. Leonardo went to Milan. Milan was a city of more of a military disposition compared to Florence, because it was more northern in Europe, and it was closer to France and Germany and stuff like that. It had to be more military minded, and that's why Leonardo went there. I don't know if I've said this earlier in the podcast, that he has a more military mind.
Yeah, military engineering, right?
He wanted to be a military engineer. That's why he went there. And while he was there, he was trying to sell sort of his ideas to the sort of guy that was in charge of the military protection of Milan. But at the end of his letter, I believe, to him, he did mention that he was a painter. So he's like, okay, let's come see Leonardo. And then when he went to see him, he's like, I want you to do a painting. And Leonardo, I can just imagine this moment, he's like, for fuck's sake, I'm a fucking engineer, man. I'm doing it painting shit all my life. Do you know what I mean? Like,
fucking
painting. I'm a fucking painter. I'm a fucking military engineer. But Leonardo, your fucking paintings are good, sir. Boy, nah, I want to be a fucking... Anyway, so he ended up having to get commissioned to paint him for this guy, and put it into Google, Jamie.
Yeah.
I believe it's put in Leonardo da Vinci, the lady with an ermine.
The lady with an ermine. How you spell an ermine?
I'm not sure.
Oh, here we go. It's come up straight away.
Mm-hmm. Now,
okay.
This painting was the first that really... Apparently, this is one of the most famous paintings on the planet. And it was really something that distinguished him, I guess, in history. Have you seen it before? I've seen it before.
I've never seen that one, no.
I've seen it before. I've taken a little interest in some art documentaries and stuff like that.
Yeah. What the hell is she holding?
To me, I would just say it's a ferret, but apparently it's not. Apparently it's an ermine. Is that actually the name of the painting?
Yeah. Lady with the ermine. Ermine. Ermine.
Did they go extinct?
What the hell is an ermine?
But this was drawn 600 years ago.
Yeah.
What do you think to it?
I think it's terrible.
Well, the painting or the ermine?
Oh, it's a stoat. Okay, so it is some sort of stoat, a ferret, isn't it?
Should we do a whole podcast on that?
Yeah. What is an ermine?
So, this one's a very...
Well, I mean, the lighting of it's absolutely phenomenal, to be fair. It almost looks like a photograph. You've got all down the
really
right
does.
side
It's really good.
It's beautiful light, and then the shadow.
Is her hand a little bit too big?
Oh my god, I didn't notice the hands.
It's a bit freaky, that hand, isn't it?
Oh, I'm glad you said that. I've had to back away. That's.
I've got a bit Skeletori hands.
Oh, that's.
That hand's a bit fucking horrible.
Leonardo, your proportions are all off.
Leonardo.
I tell you what, if a Tesla car was built those proportions, no one would buy one.
Do you want to tell us some more about Tesla cars?
No, but it's.
That hand's a bit weird, isn't it?
Well, then again, if her hand was that big, but you're looking at someone who was a long time ago. Were things just bigger back then? I mean, a head's not. A head's definitely small.
Oh my god, we've got radio silence. Do not have radio silence ever. This is the number one factor to making this a success.
What's the next one?
Well, we're jumping a lot through my notes, but shall we do it?
Let's go for the next one.
The Mona Lisa.
What's that?
I was thinking earlier when we got to this podcast, if anyone is listening, as a start, if anyone didn't know who Leonardo da Vinci or the Mona Lisa was, then that'd be worrying, wouldn't it? But I think it's a little bit. I reckon you might find that these days in the teenage years. I think you might find. I mean, us growing up, as 34-year-olds now, everyone knows who Leonardo da Vinci is, but I think you might find the odd person now that wouldn't know who they are.
What, the Mona Lisa?
Yeah, like people in teens.
No.
Really? I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't speak to many, but
I think it's quite an iconic image, isn't it?
Quite.
Yeah, I bet everyone knows the Mona Lisa.
What do we reckon?
I mean,
what's her hands looking like?
It was actually the subject of a song.
Her hands aren't that great either, actually. I think Leonardo's struggling with hands.
He's bad at hands.
I think we've just uncovered something that these aren't great artists.
You know The Lonely Island?
What, that band?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they did a film a few years back called Popstar, Never Stop, Never Stop Him. And they were a fictitious band in that. And he made a song called Mona Lisa. And it's basically ripping into it's a fucking hilarious song. It's like, one of the lines is she looks like uncooked bread. I thought I landed in Paris, went straight to the Louvre, so excited to see her. What was the other bit?
Careful now, we don't get them for copyright.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Don't be too good.
And it's the Mona Lisa sucks. Yeah.
What is that one, The Lonely Island, about? Is it fucking your mum? What is it called? Surely you know that one.
Probably, yeah.
They're like on about like two guys, and it's like Valentine's Day, and they're gonna give a gift.
Oh yeah. No, it's Mother's Day. Yeah.
Mother's Day.
yeah. I think it's called Motherfucker.
That's
Mother Lover. Mother
Lover.
Yeah.
If you haven't heard Mother Lover, go give it a listen, guys. That made me laugh.
So yeah, the hands here, I would say. Oh, well, me and you say what as art critics, not
It's just a funny thing. But the thing is,
I couldn't do any.
Could we be the turning point in the revision of Da Vinci? That is the hands. Nobody noticed it's a specific moment. But I tell you what, I've actually heard.
You notice the hands.
Does Leonardo DiCaprio in Titanic talk about the hands because he's a sketch? He does sketches. Yeah. How it's difficult to get the hands. Do all artists struggle with the hands?
Do all Leonardo struggle with hands?
Yeah, I think we could be onto something.
I mean, the hands are quite bobbly. But then again, might just have bigger hands.
She's got quite flat hands, hasn't she?
Well,
by the way, did you know nobody knew who she was?
No. There's loads of rumours about her, actually, isn't there? There's loads of rumours about who she is.
So, just one last painting to look at. It is the highest selling painting of all time. It goes for like a gazillion pounds. I do not know its name. Give it a Google.
So a gazillion pound painting.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. It was discovered, I believe. It was like a forgotten Da Vinci.
Highest selling painting.
There we go. That's the one.
Money, the saviour of the.
The saviour of the Salvator Mundi.
Where's the image?
Let's have a look at this.
Oh, okay. And this was. I mean, is that better than the Mona Lisa? I don't know.
Quite beautiful.
Yeah.
How much did it go for? 450 million. I just saw a little thing there.
$450 million in 2017. Painted in the 1500s. I mean, that's a chunk of change.
It's a chunk of change. So now we're comparing the two.
Yeah. I mean,
in today's terms, one of Da Vinci's paintings went for 450 million. Elon's been selling things for billions. So we're saying Elon's a bigger deal than Da Vinci?
Well, no, because that's one of his paintings, wasn't it?
Oh.
Like, they've not sold the Mona Lisa. What is that going to fetch?
Wow. Guys, what do we think? $1 billion? What would the Mona Lisa go for? I think we're talking... Actually, where? No, it's more than $1 billion, isn't it?
He was going to pay $1 billion for the Mona Lisa.
For a painting.
I mean, this one sold for 450 million because it was a lost one, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Whereas everyone knows the Mona. Maybe it would go for $1 billion. Maybe Elon would buy it.
I think we're touching around... That's the absolute fucking...
But when you're talking about net worth...
Cock measure, innit? I'll buy his painting and I'll have change. And I'll have another 120 billion in the bank.
I'll show these guys at the comparison compost. No, would it be considered Da Vinci's net worth that his painting sold for 450 million? Probably, because it's become
what he's curated and what he sold. Isn't
yeah,
it?
well,
so
no,
is that someone's net worth? What they create and what they sell?
Yeah, I think I would be, wouldn't it?
So when I create, my stories and I sell them all for fucking £0.1.
Yeah.
That's what my life worth is.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, if you sell 10 of them, you've got £1.
Kieran Marsden was worth £1.
No, so I suppose it would be, so you can consider that. But I mean, you get into the deep dive there. But is he going to be anywhere near Elon? Probably not. So Elon 1-0.
Elon's definitely winning on the money front.
Yeah, definitely winning on the money front. Elon's also winning on the fact that he's still alive and Da Vinci's not. He's dead.
Nice. Elon. Oh, guys, I'm struggling with my Da Vinci here. What can I throw back? I mean, he did seem like an erratic, sodomist guy that couldn't make as much money, who doesn't look good for Leonardo.
Well,
But the thing is...
Elon didn't live in the Renaissance.
Didn't live in the Renaissance. And I tell you what, I think you're a testament of your time. So...
Absolutely.
Leonardo was born in the right time. Imagine if Leonardo was born in the 1800s. I think he'd have just gone down as a fruitcake.
Yeah. Yeah.
Can you imagine if he was born at the time when Van Gogh was creating paintings and the abstract of paintings was becoming an interesting thing? And and Da Vinci's there. He's a genius. He can create amazing paintings. He understands light. It's amazing. No one gives a shit, mate. No one gives a shit, mate. Oh, what? And all these fucking diagrams you've done. No one gives a fuck. Go away. Isn't it interesting how timing is so important in life?
Oh, 100%.
And timing.
This kind of arcing back to my point earlier about Elon starting SpaceX when he did, was the timing of that. It was crazy to think of private space exploration in 2002. It's now 2023 and it's a reality. And it's within the next couple of years, you're going to be able to buy a ticket to go to space.
Yeah.
So it's like foresight. And you're crazy gone 20 years later. You're not so crazy.
Talking about, we're into the concepts of these geniuses, and I just want to say one thing about Da Vinci that he always said, and I completely agree with this, was he was a big believer in this. He did never believe in reading books and stuff like that. What he believed is experiment and doing.
Yeah.
So, and I think we all fall into this sort of trap in our lives. Oh, the more you read, the more knowledge you acquire. Yeah, that is the epitome of genius. Do you know what I mean? And Da Vinci was like, no, that's not genius. What a genius is, and I completely agree with this, is creativity, exploration, which Musk also is a pioneer of.
Yeah.
And it's so true. You get these academics, and we watch these documentaries. We listen to people that write books about history and stuff like that. Oh, he's a smart guy. What are they doing? They're just going over history. They're going over history. Oh, it can be very cultured and sophisticated. But these true geniuses of our time are the experimenters. They are the novelists. They are the forward thinkers. They are the creatives. These people that go forth, that try to put themselves against society and test society. These are the clever people. And they will get criticism. But they will take the criticism.
That's why I think they're both similar in that sense, is that they're both sort of going against the grain a little bit. And I haven't researched Leonardo as much as you have. I haven't researched them all.
Good.
But from a pay.
From
That's
the
the
podcast.
premise. That's what we promised each other. You're not cheating on me.
Thank you.
But it's a sense of like they have that confidence in themselves that what they're doing is right.
Absolutely.
And then no matter if they get called crazy or no matter if the media was obviously different in Leonardo's time.
The Times will criticise, but it's about what you believe to be right.
Yeah, and if you have that self-confidence, then you're fantastic, aren't you?
Absolutely. And can I say to anyone listening to this podcast is, if you can find something in your life that you enjoy doing, don't ever think about what my friends are going to think if I do this. What am I? Just go do it, because go take a little walk with yourself and just go, do I enjoy doing this? Because we all have passions, we all have joys, whether it's photography, whether it's writing, whether it's poetry, whether it's filmmaking, whether it's, if you enjoy it, go do it. And it doesn't give don't give a fuck what anyone else thinks. Go do it. Go to your best ability. And don't do it because of the destination. Don't do it because of where you think you might get. Do it because it makes you feel good.
Yeah.
And that will be a life worth spending.
So, Mr. Kieran.
Absolutely, Mr. Jamie.
Do you think Da Vinci is renowned today? Yes or no? I don't want a laundry list, because we know you've done the research.
Do I think he's renowned today? Yes, I do think he's renowned today, because we are talking about him today. 600 years later, we are talking about this man called Leonardo da Vinci.
Yeah.
He is renowned today.
So, and I'm glad you put the number on that. Do you think Mr. Musk will be renowned in 500 or 600 years' time?
Potentially not, because if it is not for Mr. Musk, humanity will not exist in 600 years' time.
Yeah.
He actually might save himself for the podcast.
So if we get rid of Musk, not that we're trying to get rid of him, no, but if humanity says, what you're trying to do on Elon's not right, humans won't survive.
Say that again, sorry.
So you think if people say to Elon, what you're doing is not right, you're trying to go to space, etc., humans won't survive?
Yeah, absolutely.
We boiled it down to that.
Well, absolutely. Actually, the more I think about it, it's a very good question. Quite stunned by your question. Actually, and it's
Profanity. No, that's swear words, isn't it? Profanity. And
by
profound.
your profoundness.
Profoundness. Yeah. That's weird. How it sounds the same. Profanity.
Yeah. Profoundness. Yeah.
Mm.
Some genius will tell us why they're similar.
Yeah.
But
I think what people say on this sort of stuff is comment down below.
Comment. Leave a comment.
Yeah. Like and share, because without your like and shares, my feelings aren't validated.
Well, we're on this. If you're on the channel and you like stories. No.
Like and share, comment.
Like and share, comment if you like a story, like a podcast. What was we getting at? We was getting some really good there. Will humanity exist without Elon Musk? I did hear a concept once that he was sent from the future to protect humanity.
No, that was Arnold.
Yeah. Yeah. What a story. Yeah. Well done, James Cameron.
And he became the senator for California.
as someone who likes writing a story,
Yeah.
Just a great idea. I'm going to write a story about an AI robot that comes back to... Right. Elon Musk in the future. Yeah, I think we need people like Elon Musk because he doesn't give a fuck about what the newspapers are saying, does he?
Yeah.
Like,
But with that much money, would you care?
Yeah, a lot of people do.
Mm.
Well, think about it. Think about so many celebrities.
Yeah.
They care so much about what the media saying them, and politicians as well. They care so much about what the media and people are going to say about them that they don't really say anything.
Yeah.
What they do, they follow this sort of narrative of blandness and nothingness because they're so scared of cancel culture that they're going to get cancelled and they're going to lose their career. And it's very rare in this 21st century that we meet individuals that are really saying something interesting.
No, absolutely it is.
And Elon is a fantastic character, I think, for this world because he doesn't give a fuck what the media says. He likes being controversial. He understands that time will pass, the media will pass, particularly the British media, and what will last is what is done, what is achievements.
Yeah. So this is what I'm saying is we're sat here now in 2023 talking about Da Vinci from 500-600 years ago. Will there be two fucking idiots in 500-600 years still doing podcasts because everyone's got a podcast talking about Elon Musk?
Is everyone an idiot?
Everyone's an idiot.
We're all idiots.
No, I've started saying people are unique.
Yeah. I like it. I'll take that.
Well, that's what the crux are coming down to. And yeah, I think people will still be talking about Elon. And this is the interesting concept to me is that I've never obviously met him. I never will meet him. We're living in a world that's got... you look at the 90s, tell me a figure from the 90s who was as important or as influential or as driven or as creative as Elon Musk.
Important as Elon Musk. So this is the thing. We can think about fame.
Yeah.
So fame and importance is a very different thing.
Absolutely,
and Elon Musk
yeah.
is an interesting character where he's sort of combined both. Where I think he actually is important.
Yeah.
He is important, but he also enjoys the fame.
Oh, absolutely.
And these people are very rare.
I mean, you tell me.
I think Da Vinci might have been one of them, though.
Yeah. You tell me any person from the 90s who would even be considered as a historical figure.
That's a great question.
Like, you've got prime ministers of the UK, you've got presidents of America.
So someone I'm thinking about, is very, 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 very famous, was Margaret Thatcher. But yeah, will she be remembered in 300 years' time? No one gives a shit.
It's a politician.
Absolutely, but this creative genius of Elon Musk.
I mean, you remember, you know the founding fathers of America more than you would know prime ministers from the 80s because they were so influential. So that's politics. But the likes of Da Vinci and Van Gogh, these magnets of history.
Can I ask? It's just one thing that came to my head, and I know what you're sort of saying. These. So who are the people that stand out most in history? In our story of humanity, the people that stand out, it is the creatives, isn't it?
Yeah, 100%.
But I've one dilemma with that. Henry VIII.
What a guy.
What a guy. Why?
He created divorce.
Well, this is what I was about
no
to
wonder
say.
He's so popular.
Very, very, very famous. Very famous. But he wasn't a creative.
Yeah, he created divorce.
He's a revolutionary, wasn't he? Rebelled, didn't he? He rebelled against the Pope and stuff like that. But the German, it just popped in my head, like, because it just popped in my head, like, why is he so famous for being a fucking lad?
What a guy!
What a guy!
What a guy!
Good old Henry.
Oh, I loved it. Well, I don't think we've come to an answer, or have we? I mean, I think Da Vinci is cracking.
So the big question is the question? Do we need a question? Do we need to answer the question in the first episode?
No,
Do we need answers? Do we need answers, guys? Put it in the comments. Do we need answers? Tell us in the future.
Comment, like, and share. Validate our feelings. I still can't come to a conclusion whether I think, just from talking with you, my base knowledge about both, my research on Elon, who do I think is more important? Well, they're both important for different things. Do I think Elon will be remembered in 500-600 years? Yeah, I genuinely do.
Do you?
I think he will be.
I think the world won't exist.
That's very dystopian.
I'm sorry. I genuinely can't believe that, guys.
Stay tuned for episode 2.
But while we're on this next 500-year ride,
Yeah.
subscribe and like.
No, it's no. I genuinely think he will.
Yeah.
I just think
He's
he's got a lot more to achieve. So, what was Da Vinci when he died? I'm going to assume 60s.
I think he was about 60 in Paris.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Elon's going to live for much longer. Probably till he's about 100 because they all seem to. These mega rich people.
Yeah. And all get their hair back.
Yeah.
Have you seen that?
Yeah.
Seen the pictures of Elon?
The greatest
and
comeback.
Bezos.
Yeah.
They all get their hair back. See, I'm struggling with my hair a little bit, but like, why? And no footballers these days. They've all got hair.
You just need 100 million. 100 billion. No, but I really think it is. Do I think Elon is better than Da Vinci? No, I don't.
No.
I think Elon is a fantastic businessman. I think he knows how to get the most out of people. I think he knows how to make a profit. He sold companies for mega money.
Yeah.
Do I think Da Vinci would have achieved the same in 2023? No. I think Da Vinci would have been more engaged in his work and less driven by financial gain.
Yeah. Okay, I like that. I think that might be a great place to end it. I mean, shall I give it a little last?
You give me your conclusion.
A little last thoughts. So thank you for everything you spoke to me today about Elon Musk. I've learned a lot. I think they're very different characters, but I think they're very similar in ways. They want to push forwards the limitation of the human mind. And for anyone that thinks Elon's a bad guy and this sort of a negative vibe he can sometimes get, I do not understand it whatsoever.
Yeah.
Time will reveal that he is a good man, and he doesn't give a shit about these issues we have in the 21st century about sort of political correctness and stuff like that. It's absolute absurdity, and I think Elon just laughs at it.
Yeah.
And let's be honest, this man has spent, what does it say? He's 50 now, is he?
52.
And I think we need to thank him for what he's done for this world, to be honest, right now. He's conjuring ideas of space exploration. He's conjuring ideas of... all he wants to do is better humanity. And while he makes a quick buck from it, and that's but
he's using that money to go back in, isn't he?
Yeah, he's just putting in back in.
Absolutely. Well, if this goes well, and actually we're listening back and it's all right, we may be back for number 2.
Yeah,
not for a number 2. That's.
I tell you what.
Not for a number 2. We're going
talking about that OnlyFans page. I tell you what, we might be able to make some money because I know there's a lot of freaks out there.
We're not coming back for a number 2. We might come back for episode number 2. We've got plenty of ideas of people to look at. It's not just going to be necessarily heavy stuff like Elon or Da Vinci. We're looking at musicians, activists, just bits like that, comparing people from history with contemporaries. And when we say contemporary, they may or may not still be alive. So I would consider contemporary 20th century.
Yeah,
onwards.
Absolutely. I think. Yeah.
So some of these people may have passed away, but I would still consider them contemporary. It's people from way back, seeing now they fare up. It's going to evolve, the podcast. Things are going to get different. Things are going to change. We're learning. If, in all seriousness, we joked about it earlier, but if you do like what you hear, feel free to let us know.
Absolutely.
Anything else to add, Kieran?
I just want to say, if you've made it this far, thank you very much for listening.
And if you skip right to the end to hear the thank you, well, fuck you! You should listen to the whole thing.
But I've enjoyed it, so I think we will be doing an episode 2.
Even if no one listens, we're just two mates talking about shit we've learnt for the week.
Cheers, guys, for listening.
Thanks a lot. Bye.
Bye-bye.